This episode of Cecil or Something is brought to you by Full Sail University. Hey everyone, well, there's been now some more time to recover from PAX. I would like to just send a thank you to everyone who came to the Rev 3 Games panel of Adventure and Wonder. We had a blast doing it. We hope you guys enjoyed yourselves as well. Regardless, PAX is really neat. I know there's some controversies that are surrounding PAX. I'm gonna just let that fester itself out there because I would like to focus on what I really think was cool and was so enjoyable for all those days that we were there. And it's the indie game. I spent an inordinate amount of time in the indie mega booth. And what was so impressive and so cool was it was packed constantly. You have Xbox One, you have PS4 sitting up there at the front, and they have very, very long lines. Don't get me wrong. There was just as much a crush of humanity looking at games that don't have a marketing budget. They don't have someone trying to convince you 24/7 that this is the coolest thing ever. It's just earnest and sincere. Sometimes good, sometimes not as good, but regardless, there was a lot of interest and enthusiasm. And if anything could kind of distill what is so impressive and fascinating and enjoyable about going to the Penny Arcade Expo, it is that. It is not just the fact that the indie games are there, but that the community that attends is as interested in that work as those guys are in making it. And I can't even say that I was seeing trends or anything, but sort of in the wake of games that so impressed me, like Papers, Please and Gone Home, it's really clear that there's a level of experimentation that's going on, that idea of what a game is it something that's supposed to have an accomplishment, an achievement? Are you supposed to be fighting against the interaction because it's trying to push you back? That's becoming less and less essential to call something a game. Obviously, the one that stood out to me as tough as it was to play was That Dragon Cancer. And we'll be showing a lot of interviews, not just of that game, but of other ones going on throughout the week. Yeah, it really is more of an art piece. It's a way of looking at games, the interactivity of games, as essential to conveying a certain type of meaning, to giving a certain type of experience, asking someone to share in an experience which in this case was obviously very, very sad and very, very strong. And it's been a while that I've been at a convention, I played a game, and I need to go find a place to be by myself, just to kind of compose myself. Really, really affecting. But on the flip side of that, there were more than enough games that were still kind of fun and silly and anarchic. Super Time Force really stood out for me, as well as another game called Jazz Punk. What is so neat and so affecting about the indie game scene is that idea of just throwing the spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it sticks. You come up with a really good game mechanic, it's like, yeah, but let's kind of slap some silly on top of that. Super Time Force definitely did that. You play a piece of poo with a gun. It was just very invigorating, a lot of fun, and some of the best interviews I've ever gotten to conduct because you see people who are just excited about the game that they're making and they're excited to show it, and like there's not all those bureaucratic layers between creator and production that really seem to sort of take a lot of the joy and the fun out of the creativity that's going into these projects. The final example of that is someone who is not young, not what you always associate with indie, and that was my talk with Peter Molyneux. We spent 40 minutes with him walking me through his own personal project, Goddess, which he funded through Kickstarter. He is able finally, after a long time, to make the game not for EA, not for Activision, and not for Microsoft. Who knows if it'll fulfill on everything? I know there's always the skepticism around it, but when he's there by himself and not trying to appease a bunch of people who are looking at the bottom line constantly, there's a lot more hope. And if anything can really kind of signify everything that's so exciting and invigorating about the indie game scene, it was Molyneux and all those other games I saw. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. All right, let's take a moment and shout out to our sponsor, Full Sail University. Of course, if you're watching this, you like to play video games. Have you ever thought of creating them? Whether you're interested in programming, art and animation, story creation, or even producing games, there is a game degree program at Full Sail University to fit your needs. The Full Sail campus is equipped with professional level game studios and labs where you can work with your teams of your peers to create a playable game from start to finish. Full Sail University also offers a variety of campuses and online degrees in fields related to the entertainment and media industry, including art and design, filmmaking, recorded arts, entertainment business, and many more. Visit fullsail.edu/something to learn more. All right, so last week we got the date for Microsoft's launch of the Xbox One. Actually, it's one date for 13 different territories, and that is November 22nd. Coming later than Sony. Not something I actually expected. I thought Sony may have really kind of opened the door for Microsoft to get the console out 1 or 2 weeks early and just get that extra attention ahead of, you know, the great deal of popularity and, well, confidence that's surrounding the PlayStation 4. Is this hurting them? I don't know, but I'm not 100% confident with some of the ideas are coming out of going out 1 week later. The statement that Microsoft is giving is that it's the same date that they launched the Xbox 360. I would like to think that sort of nostalgia doesn't really dictate massive business decisions of that matter. I wish there was a different story that could have been told. It does make me wonder. There's two reasons you would go later, and that is supply, and that is everything ready? You know, be it an OS, be it firmware. Obviously the hardware, what's under that hood, is gonna be done up until that time. Of course, that is me speculating, but when you have the more expensive console, you would like to think that you would have it available when you don't have the alternate, cheaper version already on the store shelves. So there has to be some sort of rationale other than fond memories of November 22nd, which never stood out to me until today, as memories of when the Xbox 360 launched. This does make Sony's decision look a little bit more inspired. Now, of course, it comes out in the US first, and actually will be coming out later behind the Xbox One when it arrives in Europe and other territories. Are they really gonna lose any traction there? At this point, now I don't think so. Once again, they have the cheaper console. They really seem to have people's mind share really focused on them. There's a lot of enthusiasm around it. Dates are just not the determining factor. We are finally now to the point where I think some of the most key elements are gonna come into play, and that is supply. A lot of you know what you want to get, but there's gonna be a larger audience that hasn't thought too much about it, and if only one of the two consoles is available when they walk into a store, that could be the determining factor. So, are they able to manufacture them fast enough? Are all the parts they are supposed to be getting to build these consoles coming at a steady rate? This should be very interesting and very exciting, but for a lot of people, potentially disappointing. All right, there you go. Throw some questions down there. We've been a little light on questions, but actually there's been a lot of comments, so maybe there have been some there and I haven't seen it. Also, if you like this shirt, it is available among many other beautiful Rev3 Games designs, products that you can wear on your upper torso. Just go to rev3games.com/store.